All right, so you know how much we all love those quick wins, right? Those little insights that just click and make a real difference. Well, we've got a good one for you today, I think.
Yeah, today's deep dive, we're looking at plant photography,
Yeah, exactly.
but not just the usual pretty pictures. This is about a really clever technique we found from someone named Ang.
Okay.
Actually got their blog post right here.
Perfect. And what we're going to do is break down Aang's surprisingly cheap and effective method to get some really nice plant photos.
And the best part is, no expensive lenses required.
Yeah, forget about those for now. So tell me a little bit about what problem was Aang even trying to solve in the first place?
So it sounds like Ang was in the same boat as a lot of us. They wanted to get those close-up, detailed shots of plants.
Right.
But yeah, they were putting off buying a macro lens for whatever reason. And that's actually what led to this really resourceful workaround.
Which brings us to the star of the show, black cardboard.
Yeah, exactly. Simple as that. And get this, it only cost them like MYR 1.60.
Wow. That's like, what, less than 50 cents US?
Yeah. Something like that, yeah. Just
Yeah.
a tiny little expense.
Incredible. So how does this humble piece of cardboard actually work its magic?
Well, it all comes down to contrast. When you put that black backdrop behind a plant, it just makes the subject pop, like really stand out.
Okay, I can see that. Why does that work so well, though?
Well, think about it. Our eyes are naturally drawn to areas of high contrast, right?
Right.
So that stark black background is basically telling our brain to ignore everything else and just focus on the plant, which is usually going to be much brighter.
Oh, that's really interesting. So it's kind of like tricking our brains into seeing the plant more clearly.
Exactly. And what's great is that it doesn't just make the plant stand out more. It actually helps to emphasize all those fine details, too.
Oh, I see. So you get to appreciate those subtle textures and patterns even more.
Right, like think about the delicate veins on a leaf or the tiny hairs on a stem.
Yeah, you can really capture those details when you have that stark black background behind them.
Absolutely. Plus, there's another big benefit here. It helps to completely clean up your composition.
Okay, how so?
Well, no more distracting backgrounds, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't matter if you're shooting in a busy garden or just on a cluttered shelf.
Right.
That black backdrop just makes all the unwanted stuff disappear.
It's like you're creating your own little studio setup right there on the spot.
Yeah, exactly. And, if we want to connect this back to something a little bit broader, it's all about isolating your subject.
Okay.
By getting rid of all those distractions, you can really concentrate on the plant's form and texture and all those little details that make it unique.
I like that. It's like you're giving the plant the spotlight it deserves.
Exactly. And Ang actually pointed out in the blog post that this is especially helpful for plants that you can't easily move.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Like if it's planted in the ground, or maybe it's a really delicate potted plant that you don't want to disturb.
Right. This way you can still get those amazing close-up shots without having to move anything.
Very cool. Now, I did notice that Aang mentioned a bit of a challenge when it came to lighting.
Yeah, that's a really important point to bring up because even with a simple technique like this, lighting still plays a huge role.
So what was the issue that Aang ran into?
Well, basically, they found that natural overcast light just wasn't strong enough.
Really?
Yeah, it sounds like it was too diffused, and it didn't really have the direction needed to bring out those finer details that the black background was helping to isolate.
Hmm. That's interesting. So even though the cardboard was doing its job of creating contrast, the lighting itself was still holding the photos back.
Right. And I think this is a great lesson for all of us.
Okay, what is it?
Well, even if you have the perfect background or the perfect composition, you still need to pay attention to your lighting.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, lighting is what really shapes the look and feel of your photos.
Exactly. So in this case, even though Ang's cardboard trick was working, it sounds like they needed to add some additional light to really make those plant photos pop.
Makes sense. Now, did Aang have any ideas on how to solve this lighting issue?
Yeah, they did. Actually, they mentioned a few things in the blog post that they were going to try next.
Oh, cool. Tell me about them.
Well, first they were thinking about trying a smaller piece of cardboard,
Okay.
just to make it easier to handle and position.
I could see that being helpful, especially if you're working with smaller plants or in tighter spaces.
Right. And then they also mentioned using tripod clamps to secure the cardboard in place.
Oh, that's a good idea. I could see that being helpful if it's a windy day or if you're trying to get a really specific angle.
Yeah, definitely. And then the last thing they mentioned was experimenting with a headlamp.
The headlamp.
Yeah, like the kind you wear for camping or hiking.
Oh, okay. How would that help with plant photography?
Well, Ang thought it might be a good way to add some more controlled illumination. since you can direct the beam of light exactly where you want it.
Oh, that's pretty clever. It's like having a portable little spotlight right there on your head.
Exactly. And it's just another example of how you can take a low-tech solution and keep refining it to make it even better.
Yeah, I love that. It's all about experimenting and finding what works best for you.
Absolutely. And, at the end of the day, Ang's conclusion was really simple.
Hmm.
This technique is easy, it's affordable, and most importantly, it's effective.
Can't argue with results, right?
Nope. And I think for our listeners, the big takeaway here is that you don't always need fancy equipment to get great photos.
Yeah. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the best.
Right. Like in this case, it's just a piece of black cardboard. But it can make a world of difference in terms of highlighting detail, removing distractions, and really making your subject shine.
So to recap for everyone listening, we've been talking about Aang's clever and incredibly budget-friendly trick for taking amazing plant photos. And the key is using black cardboard to create that impactful contrast that just makes your plants pop.
And I think the real aha moment here is that simple contrast is a powerful tool.
It is.
Whether you're talking about photography or anything else in life, it's all about understanding how to use contrast to your advantage.
So I'll leave our listeners with a little something to think about. Where else in your life could a simple change in background or contrast make a big impact?
Yeah, maybe it's in your work, your hobbies, your relationships even.
It's a question worth pondering. And until our next deep dive, keep exploring those simple but powerful ideas.
And keep taking those amazing photos.
Absolutely.